जननी जय श्री शारदामणि जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि करुणरूपिणी जय मा करुणरूपिणी जय मा आद्याशक्ति परमा प्रकृति आद्याशक्ति परमा प्रकृति अशरण गति तुमी मा अशरण गति तुमी मा अशरण गति तुमी मा अशरण गति तुमी मा जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि करुणरूपिणी मा करुणरूपिणी जय मा करुणरूपिणी जय मा जय जगतारिणि भवभयहारिणि जय जगतारिणि भवभयहारिणि दुर्गति निवारिणि मा दुर्गति निवारिणि मा सिद्धि प्रदायिनि मुक्ति विधायिनि सिद्धि प्रदायिनि मुक्ति विधायिनि जीवगतिदायिनि मा जीवगतिदायिनि मा जीवगतिदायिनि मा जीवगतिदायिनि मा जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि करुणरूपिणी जय मा करुणरूपिणी जय मा निखिल जगत माता जीव कल्याण रत निखिल जगत माता जीव कल्याण रत लज्जपटावृत मा लज्जपटावृत मा दुर्जन सज्जन संतन गणन दुर्जन सज्जन संतन गणन पालनकारिणि मा पालनकारिणि मा पालनकारिणि मा पालनकारिणि मा जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि करुणरूपिणी जय मा करुणरूपिणी जय मा जय शारदेश्वरी सीता राधा माता मेरी जय शारदेश्वरी सीता राधा माता मेरी यशोधर विष्णु प्रिय मा यशोधर विष्णु प्रिय मा युगदेव वंदित सुर नर सेवित युगदेव वंदित सुर नर सेवित नमो नारायणि मा नमो नारायणि मा नमो नारायणि मा नमो नारायणि मा जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि जय जय जननी जय श्री शारदामणि करुणरूपिणी जय मा करुणरूपिणी जय मा आद्याशक्ति परमा प्रकृति आद्याशक्ति परमा प्रकृति अशरण गति तुमी मा अशरण गति तुमी मा शरण गति तुमि मा अशरण गति तुमि मा जय जगतारिणि भव भयहारिणि जय जगतारिणि भव भयहारिणि दुर्गति निवारिणि मा दुर्गति निवारिणि मा सिद्धि प्रदायिनि मुक्ति विधायिनि सिद्धि प्रदायिनि मुक्ति विधायिनि जीवगतिदायिनि मा जीवगतिदायिनि मा जीवगतिदायिनि मा जीवगतिदायिनि मा निखिल जगत मत जीव कल्याण रत निखिल जगत मत जीव कल्याण रत लज्जपटावृत मा लज्जपटावृत मा दुर्जन सज्जन संतन गणन दुर्जन सज्जन संतन गणन पालनकारिणि मा पालनकारिणि मा पालनकारिणि मा पालनकारिणि मा जय शरदेश्वरि सीताराध माता मेरी जय शरदेश्वरि सीताराध माता मेरी यशोधर विष्णु प्रिय मा यशोधर विष्णु प्रिय मा युगदेव वंदित सुर नर सेवित युगदेव वंदित सुर नर सेवित नमो नारायणि मा 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 श्री रामकृष्ण मंगलकारी श्री रामकृष्ण मंगलकारी नमो नारायण भवदुःखहारी नमो नारायण भवदुःखहारी श्री रामकृष्ण मंगलकारी श्री रामकृष्ण मंगलकारी नमो नारायण भवदुःखहारी नमो नारायण भवदुःखहारी नरेंद्र सेवित जीवहितकारी नरेंद्र सेवित जीवहितकारी नरेंद्र सेवित जीवहितकारी नरेंद्र सेवित जीवहितकारी शारद पूजित भुवन विहारी शारद पूजित भुवन विहारी शरणागत जन रक्षणकारी शरणागत जन रक्षणकारी नमो नारायण नररूपधारी नमो नारायण नररूपधारी श्री रामकृष्ण मंगलकारी श्री रामकृष्ण मंगलकारी नमो नारायण भवदुःखहारी नमो नारायण भवदुःखहारी नरेंद्र सेवित जीवहितकारी नरेंद्र सेवित जीवहितकारी शारद पूजित भुवन विहारी शारद पूजित भुवन विहारी शरणागत जन रक्षणकारी शरणागत जन रक्षणकारी नमो नारायण नररूपधारी नमो नारायण नररूपधारी रामकृष्ण जय जय राम Ramakrishna Jai Jai 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 जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी 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 चिर समाधि गिरि शिखर से चिर समाधि गिरि शिखर से नर से वाहित आए धरा पर नर से वाहित आए धरा पर जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलधारी जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी सूक्त देव जागो रे जागो सूक्त देव जागो जागो लुप्त पदवी फिर से मांगो लुप्त पदवी फिर से मांगो सूक्त देव जागो रे जागो सूक्त देव जागो रे जागो लुप्त पदवी फिर से मांगो लुप्त पदवी फिर से मांगो सप्तलोक के तुम अधीश्वर सप्तलोक के तुम अधीश्वर दीप्त वाणी दी धरा को दीप्त वाणी दी धरा को सप्तलोक के तुम अधीश्वर सप्तलोक के तुम अधीश्वर दीप्त वाणी दी धरा को दीप्त वाणी दी धरा को जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी विश्वव्यापक प्रेम मूर्ति विश्वव्यापक प्रेम मूर्ति विश्वद्योतक परम ज्ञानी विश्वद्योतक परम ज्ञानी विश्वव्यापक प्रेम मूर्ति विश्वव्यापक प्रेम मूर्ति विश्वद्योतक परम ज्ञानी विश्वद्योतक परम ज्ञानी विश्वमुक्ति समर्पितात्मा विश्वमुक्ति समर्पितात्मा विश्वबन्द्या जयतु जय जय विश्वबन्द्या जयतु जय 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 विवेकानन्द गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी जय विवेकानन्द गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी जय विवेकानन्द गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी जय विवेकानन्द गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी। अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां शिवरन् मोहिनी विश्वविलासिनी शिवरन् मोहिनी विश्वविलासिनी रामकृष्ण जयदायिनी मां रामकृष्ण जयदायिनी मां अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां जगज्जननी त्रिलोकपालिनी जगज्जननी त्रिलोकपालिनी विश्वसुवासिनी शुभदे मां विश्वसुवासिनी शुभदे मां दुर्गतिनाशिनी सन्मतिदायिनी दुर्गतिनाशिनी सन्मतिदायिनी भोगमोक्ष सुखकारिणी मां भोगमोक्ष सुखकारिणी मां अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां परमे पार्वती सुंदरी भगवती परमे पार्वती सुंदरी भगवती दुर्गे भामति त्वं मे मां दुर्गे भामति त्वं मे मां प्रसीद मातर् नागेन्द्र नन्दिनी प्रसीद मातर् नागेन्द्र नन्दिनी चिरसुखदायिनी जयदे मां चिरसुखदायिनी जयदे मां अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत रूपिणी अनंत गुणवती अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां अनंत नामनी गिरिजे मां रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये प्रभु कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये शरणागतोऽहं 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 शरण्ये शरणागतोऽहं 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 शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो 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 श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो नमो प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये रामकृष्ण रामकृष्ण जय जय रामकृष्ण 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 रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये प्रभु कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं कृपा हि केवलं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये शरणागतोऽहं 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 शरण्ये शरणागतोऽहं 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 शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो 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 श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो नमो प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये रामकृष्ण रामकृष्ण जय जय रामकृष्ण 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 रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरण्ये प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं
মোহিনী সদানন্দ মই কালী মহাকালের মন মোহিনী তুমি আপনি নাচো আপনি গাও মা আপনি নাচো আপনি গাও মা আপনি দাও মা করতালি সদানন্দ মই কালী মহাকালের মন মোহিনী সদানন্দ মই কালী আদিভূতা সনাতনী শূন্য রূপ শশী ভালি আদিভূতা সনাতনী শূন্য রূপ শশী ভালি ব্রহ্মাণ্ড ছিল না যখন ব্রহ্মাণ্ড ছিল না যখন মুন্ডমালা কোথায় ফেলি সদানন্দ মই কালী মহাকালের মন মোহিনী সদানন্দ মই কালী সবে মাত্র তুমি যন্ত্রী আমরা তোমা যন্ত্র ছলি সবে মাত্র তুমি যন্ত্রী আমরা তোমা যন্ত্রে চলি যেমন রাখো তেমনি থাকি মা যেমন রাখো তেমনি থাকি মা যেমন বলো তেমনি বলি অশান্ত কমলাকান্ত দিয়ে বলে গালাগালি অশান্ত কমলাকান্ত দিয়ে বলে গালাগালি এবার সর্বনাশী ধরে অসি সর্বনাশী ধরে অসি ধর্ম ধর্ম দুটো খেলি সদানন্দ মই কালী মহাকালের মন মোহিনী তুমি আপনি নাচো আপনি গাও মা আপনি নাচো আপনি গাও মা আপনি দাও মা করতালি সদানন্দ মই কালী মহাকালের মন মোহিনী সদানন্দ মই কালী
That Sri Ramakrishna was especially fond of. His Kamalakanta is not known quite as well as Ramprasad, but he was also a brilliant poet and great saintly figure also. And it has that wonderful line, the devotee asks Mother, before this universe came into existence, where did you get your garland of human skulls? And yes, one of the themes of mother worship is how mysterious everything is, and how we can't get easy answers to any of these questions. Okay, so we'll continue from this morning. So I'll just give a very quick little review that we have a model here. We have a way of understanding the personality and the sense of person that we all have based on a layered structure, starting with this physical body and then going more and more interior with the senses and the mind and the subconscious. And deep within all of this is the real self which transcends all of these, but which gets identified with them. And the sense of ego comes, and we have to somehow extricate ourselves from all of this to understand our free and independent and unlimited, transcendent nature as divine. And this we can do by peeling away the different layers of the onion, and then we get to that essential substance within, which is the real self, and which is beyond all description. So I'll read again this one very nice quote from Sri Ramakrishna. If a person knows his own self, he knows other beings and God. What is my ego? Is it my hand or foot, flesh or blood, muscles or tendons. Ponder deeply, and you will know that there is no such thing as I. As you peel off the skin of an onion, you find it consists only of skin. You cannot find any kernel in it. So, on analyzing the ego, it will be found that there is no real entity that you can call I. Such an analysis of the ego convinces one that the ultimate substance is God alone. When egotism drops away, divinity manifests itself. If one analyzes oneself, one doesn't find any such thing as I. Take an onion, for instance. First of all, you peel off the red outer skin, then you find thick white skins. Peel these off one after another, and you won't find anything inside. So, what we find inside is that transcendent ultimate reality. It goes beyond this ego sense. Now, when we talk about this ego has an empirical reality. In fact, the sense of I is one of the last things that will disappear. This is very strong, and Sri Ramakrishna emphasizes this idea that utilize the sense of I, but remove it from the body, and then develop a relationship with God based on this I, sense of I. This is a dualistic attitude that will allow us to go beyond this dualistic type of relationship. So, one of the ways in which we can utilize the sense of I is by engaging in spiritual practice based on this idea of the Panchakoshas, of the different coverings that we have. We have different ways of doing this. One is through this path of vichara. And this is that intellectual exercise where we try to analyze what is the real nature of the self. And how is it that we so misunderstand the real nature of the self and become fully identified with the coverings, with all of the superficial things, with the mask that we're wearing. We become identified with that and not with the real person underneath, the real self underneath. So we engage in this type of vichara where we try to analyze where the sense of I comes from and how we identify with all of the different layers at different times. So this is that path of vichara, and it involves two very important concepts that we have. One is called upadhi, and the other is called adhyasa. Upadhi and adhyasa. Upadhi has various meanings. It can be any quality or attribute that belongs to a substance. It can be something that's added on. So somebody passes their medical degree, and now they can be called doctor. You can add MD to the end of their name. That's an upadhi. And from the highest point of view, Vedantic point of view, this upadhi is a quality that we attribute to something that has no real connection with it, that it doesn't belong to, has a superficial connection with. So an apparent connection. This is the use of upadhi in Vedanta. We have many examples. If we take a vase, a clear vase, and we put a red rose behind it, and we look at the color of the vase, we'll think that it's a red vase, because the redness will pervade the vase. But does redness belong to it? Does it really enter into it? Does it color the vase? As soon as we remove the rose, the redness is gone. So we take the color that belongs to the rose, one thing, and we falsely identify that or superimpose that color on the thing that it doesn't belong to. And they're completely different because one is perfectly clear, one is colorless. And the other, of course, has that color to it. Now, with this false identification, this adhyasa. So adhyasa is taking this upadhi, this quality that belongs to one thing, and we think it belongs to another. That process is called adhyasa. That we attribute one thing to something that doesn't belong to, and vice versa. So it works both ways. They give the example, if you look in the sky, a cloudy night, and you'll see that the cloud is passing in front of the moon. there will be the perception that the cloud is stationary and the moon is moving. Now, what we've done is we attribute motion to the thing that's stationary and stationariness to the thing that's moving. So it's a double type of adhyasa. So we do this with the self, the real nature of the self. We add onto it ego and personality things, so that we say, I am so-and-so. And the real nature of mind, which is just an instrument, we attribute consciousness to it, which really belongs to the self. So what we have to do is extricate, is somehow remove from one from the other. This is this process of reverse or undoing of the adhyasa. Yeah. So this is the process of that we do with vichara, and there are different ways of doing this. This is where we get tied in with the three states of consciousness also. So we analyze that what is this feeling of I that I have in the waking state? This feeling of I is tied in with this physical body, and when I have a dream, this feeling of I is tied in with the dream body. It may look like me, but when I wake up, I realize that I had no sense of identification with the sleeping individual in bed. Sense of identification was with the imagined I. And it's actually the same I. We won't say that I had a dream that this person who looked like me did this and that. No, I did it. We have that feeling that the same I exactly, the second that we wake up, that it's not a projection. The dream itself may be a projection, but the I there is the same I. If we use this example of nature of Brahman, the nature of the Ishvara, and the nature of the Jiva in terms of the dream. If we want to get at some idea of this Brahman, this Nirguna Brahman, unchanging Brahman, this is like the sleeping individual, where the sleeping individual is just consciousness, and there's no content at that time. Now, as soon as the dream comes, the sleeper becomes a dreamer. They're not two different people. They're exactly the same person. But the dreamer, once he becomes a dreamer, he still remains the sleeper. So the Brahman part, that's always there. That's the unchanging part. Sleeper may be a sleeper 1 minute and then wake up not a sleeper anymore. So this is Ishvara. This will be Saguna Brahman. And the dream is a projection out of this cosmic mind. And the actor in the dream is not a projection. It's actually the sleeper and dreamer and character. They're one. It allows us to feel that we're something separate, that there's something unchanging. Otherwise, we won't be able to even notice change unless there's something that doesn't change in the midst of change. So, and the witness can't add anything. A good witness, if in the legal system, if you want a good witness, it has to be somebody who has nothing to gain by anything, is not involved in anything, just a purely objective observer. They say that there were pundits, such great Sanskrit pundits in India in the old days with such tremendous memory that whatever they heard they would remember. And there was a case, this is just a story probably, during the time of the British, when there was a big quarrel between these two men, and they were asking, was there anyone there to see it? And this one great pundit was there. And so they asked him, did you hear what they said? He didn't know a word of English, but he could recite and recall to memory everything that they said in English. So he was the perfect witness. He didn't even know that he couldn't add or subtract anything. So this is the nature of the real self. Anything that adds and subtracts belongs to the mind. It's perfectly pure. This is why it's always observing something else. So we have this type of vichara. Then we have Trigdrishya Viveka. This is, of course, a very popular subject nowadays. Anything that can be the object of consciousness cannot be consciousness. A very simple way of looking at it. So this gets us to that ego sense. Why do we say that this ego is unreal? Not that it's the ego is the most pressing thing that we have. We can't get rid of this idea of ego, but It presents itself to consciousness as an idea. As an idea. And who and what we think that we are. So whatever we can observe, we're different from that. Drishta, drishya, whatever presents itself to consciousness, so it goes all the way down to every thought that we have, we're separate from. And every sense of I we have, we're separate from as the witness. So we have this type of vichara, and then one other type that whatever we can consider a possession of ours is different from us. If I own something, then I'm different from that. I'm the owner of that. So we have it with the body, with the mind, the senses, and all of that. Yes, this is my ego. So I am that which observes the ego, which has the ego, however we understand it. So this is how we utilize this vichara. Vichara really means analyzing something very deeply and trying to separate. We use this term discrimination. It has a negative connotation to it nowadays, but it has in a very positive sense. The discriminating taste. We can distinguish between something of high quality and low quality, that type of discrimination, so that we can separate the self, which has been diffused and just like the red rose, it entered into that vase, and we can't imagine that it doesn't belong to the vase. So we practice that type of discrimination. So that's drishya viveka, and the other sense of I that we have. And then adhyasa and upadhi. These are all very important concepts that we have in Vedanta. Okay. Now I mentioned briefly the three states of consciousness, and in Vedanta, the dream state is always analyzed from a philosophical point of view, almost never from a psychological point of view, and in the West, just the opposite. Just the opposite. There's always what is it telling us about the unconscious mind and everything. But if we analyze the sense of identification with the actor in the dream, then to me this is the greatest clue that we have that our sense of identification with this body is also temporary. It lasts only as long as we're in the waking state. So we come to understand ourselves as, again, the observer and the witness. Now the observer, we seem to be dwelling within this body, but in the dream state we seem to be dwelling within the body of the actor in the dream, and yet it's the same I. So we observe who is it that is the witness of all of the different states of consciousness, who is the witness of all of the changes in a full lifetime. So this is that analysis of the dream state, and we start to understand that we can almost peel off these layers of the body when we go into the dream state, as if we've taken it off, and we're just dwelling in the subtle body. There was a movie that was made many years ago called Cocoon. Did anybody see it? Yeah, a very sweet movie. They're very nice. It's about these creatures from outer space who have to find some place to keep these pods of future beings somewhere where they can grow and develop, and somehow they find out that the ocean bed and the earth is a suitable place, so they come to deposit these pods, something like that, and they dress like human beings, they look like human beings. They have some type of, almost like an outfit that they can get into, like human beings. So there's a young man who's on this boat taking all these what he doesn't know, or these pods to be deposited in the ocean. And one of the aliens is a very pretty young girl. And he falls in love with her. So he's very smitten with her. And she's in a room next to his room in the cabin. And he does a very bad thing, which he shouldn't do, and he knows it. He's looking through the peephole. And he sees her getting ready for bed. And he sees her take off her clothes and everything. And then he sees her unzip and take off this human body. And she's a little green creature, like an E.T. kind of thing. Yeah, and then she goes to bed. And it always struck me that when we go to sleep, that we're essentially doing that. When we have a dream, we're simply just taking it off and putting it aside. We wake up, we go back into it again. But if we could observe that, then we would really cease to identify. So this sense of identification, all of this goes back to this Vijnana Maya Kosha. This is the strange thing, that it's not simply we peel away all the different layers, that it's this mind that's identified with all the different layers. So it all has to go through the mind. Yeah, we were talking earlier about the functioning of the mind in the state of dreamless sleep, and this is just an aside. It doesn't so directly connect with this, but the mind still functions to a certain extent and to different degrees in the state of dreamless sleep. Now, people who study sleep, they know that there's this what they call REM, REM, rapid eye movement sleep. There's very deep sleep, and there's very light sleep, and there are deep sleepers and light sleepers. And this shows how this consciousness, even in dreamless sleep, some of it filters from the waking state through the body, the senses, through the dream, and somehow can enter into the dream state. Yeah. And I'll give two very interesting examples. When I was young, one time, I went on vacation. My parents took me on vacation, my sister and I. And we were in some type of cabins with a tin roof. It's simple, it was kind of a camp out kind of vacation. And I was at the age where you take a nap after lunch. So I was sleeping after lunch, and I had a dream that I used to play the piano, that I was giving a recital, and then people started clapping, and the clapping became so loud that it woke me up. And it turned out it was pouring rain on the roof. Yeah, and somehow it filters through. Yeah, and we all know that sometimes while we're sleeping we kick the covers off. Now, how do we do that? Somehow the body is experiencing that we're tangled up, or too warm, or hot, or something like that. Yeah. Now, this other experience was very, very odd. We can understand with the sense of hearing, right? But can anybody be awakened by the sense of smell?
Yeah.
Yeah. I stayed for some time in this neighborhood of Calcutta. Who's from Calcutta? Koshba in the old days. There's Koshba in the 70s. Yeah. There were open sewers, and there was no paved roads or anything like that. And it was the rainy season, there was garbage and everything outside. So one early morning, something woke me up, as if I got nudged. And I tried to think, what woke me up? I couldn't figure it out. Then I realized that this stench. In the sleep state, when we awaken from that state, and had some feeling of passage of time, feeling that I slept nicely and quietly and everything, we come to this realization that the same I is present as the witness in all of the states of consciousness. So this is that type of vichara that's based on the three different states of consciousness, avasthatraya. These three different states: waking, dream, and deep sleep. And then, of course, we have this turiya state. This is all from Mandukya Upanishad, where we transcend all of these and have that experience of samadhi. We have other ways of practicing this vichara, this type of discrimination, where we try to understand what is the sense of I that we have, and how the sense of I gets tied up with this physical body and with the mind and the senses and everything else. So we have to ask ourselves some questions. That how is it that I feel that I'm the same person that I was when I was a small child? The same I the same I. And somebody will say, you're completely different. So yes, I'm completely different. The I that I am now is completely different from the I that I was then, but it's the same I. Yeah. It's the same I. So we analyze that psychologically my sense of I is different. We have to distinguish between the empirical I and the real I and the real self. This empirical I is very much based on what our physical appearance is, what our state of mind is, all of these things. We're talking about something a little bit deeper than that. So we analyze that does my sense of I change because I was a small child before and now I'm grown up and now I'm getting older and skin is getting wrinkled and all of that. And then the senses, how much we're tied in with the senses. Suppose I become blind and become deaf and everything. I'm the same I, exactly the same. Then the mind. Suppose that one day I'm a complete atheist, and the next day something happens, and a very devout spiritual aspirant. The same I. It will say, I was this before, then something happened, now I'm like the same I. Empirical ego itself is radically changed, but the same feeling of I is there. So we analyze what is the real sense of I, and we come to realize that it's something different from all of the states of consciousness, from all the different stages of life, that it's that which has been witnessing all of this throughout, all of these myriad changes that we have. Suppose, for example, that someone is in a terrible car accident and they're completely unconscious, and because of this car accident and terrible burns over the body, now they can do face transplants. They can actually take the skin from the face, so they do a face transplant. They have to change all of the organs inside. They have to do all sorts of plastic surgery and everything, so that we look like completely different people. Now, when we wake up from this surgery, before we see ourselves in the mirror, before we know anything is happening, will we have any feeling that we're different than we were before the accident? None whatsoever. None whatsoever. We'll look at ourselves and we, oh, wow, look what you had to do, with the same sense of I. Can I tell a joke? Yeah. Now, first I have to say that the Sikh Dharma, Sardarjis, are wonderful people. They're highly respected, and I have the greatest admiration for them. Well, unfortunately, they're a butt of jokes. Yeah. So no one take this personally, but it has to be a Sardarji or the joke won't work. Okay. So there's one. You all know the Sikhs, they wear the turbans and have the beards. Yeah. So there's one Sardarji Sikh. He's on the train, and he's feeling very sleepy. So somebody is sitting across from him, and he asks him that I have to get off at a certain stop. Can you wake me up when we get there? So the man said, yes, of course. And then Sardarji thinks that I should do something. So I said, okay. So I'll give you 10 rupees if you wake me up. He says, okay. Then the other man is thinking, how can I take 10 rupees just for that? I should do something for him. So this other man was a barber. So he thinks that let me give him a shave. I'll give him a shave while he's sleeping, and then I'll feel that I've done something for him. So he does it. He gives him a shave, and then he wakes him up, and he gives him the 10 rupees, and he goes home, and he sees his face in the mirror, and he says, that rascal, I gave him $10, he woke up the wrong man. See, the point is that we'll never feel it. We'll always say, yeah, well, what did he do to my face? Yeah, but because this sense of identification with the body can be so strong. Anyhow, you get the point. Yeah. So, we do this type of vichara, and one by one, we analyze what is the sense of identification with this Anatmajnananda, with the body, and then we realize that this witnessing consciousness has this tendency to identify with whatever it witnesses. Now, why does it do it? Partly because the consciousness itself is so empty. It's so empty that it doesn't even think to consider itself to be empty. For example, if we look in a mirror, we won't see the mirror unless there's some dirt or dust or something there. We'll see our image there. We won't see it because there's nothing to see. So, and with the way human beings are constructed, the mind goes outward. So automatically, from childhood, now this is another childhood development that we have. From a very early age, children, first of all, they have no sense of identification even with their own body. The first sense of identification is with the mother. They see the mother's body that way. Then gradually a little bit with the body, and then after they're much older, this ego sense comes and everything. So, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought for a second. This sense of I, yeah, so we're analyzing the sense of I. Yeah, what was the point I was going to make was over there? Anyhow, it'll come back to me. So, anyhow, we analyze this way, and then go back to the mind, and then we understand that we can undergo all sorts of changes, and still we're the witness. So we can come to this conclusion that the point I was making was this: how the mind actually automatically identifies with external things. Yeah, from childhood. Yeah, when childhood, because we have no sense of self-reflection. There's that big Panchakosha that hasn't developed yet. So automatically we identify with all these external things. So this vichara is really a type of spiritual practice, a type of sadhana. This is called 1880. And 1880 doesn't have to be thought of as this external thing, that everything that's changing is not Brahman. It works probably better with internally when we say, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not. So what am I? Then Sakshi Swarup. I am the essence of witness. I've been observing all of these changes of the body and the mind throughout a whole lifetime. So this is a spiritual path which allows us to feel that we're something separate, there's something unchanging. Otherwise we won't be able to even notice change unless there's something that doesn't change. In the middle is what is the experience of the body? We're too hot, or we tangle up. We can be tangled up in bed and dream that we're tied up by a rope. So it's very interesting how these different koshas interact with each other.
Also playing soccer and breaking toes.
Breaking toes, we're dreaming that we're playing soccer. Yeah. Yeah.
And that wakes you up.
Yeah. Have you done that?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, they used to tell this joke that a man dreamt that he was eating a huge marshmallow, and when he woke up, his pillow was gone. Okay, so this is with vichara. Now I want to go to meditation. See, in meditation, we're not simply intellectually doing these things. When we practice pratyahara, first of all, in our normal state of awareness, we're aware of this physical body. When we sit for meditation, we're trying to remove that sense of physical presence, and we're trying to cut off the tendency of the mind to go out through the senses, so that even if there's some sound in the room, we won't hear it. The smells, we won't smell it. We're trying to withdraw. So as if we're peeling off the physical layer, and we're also peeling off the layer of the senses, and we're just dwelling within the layer of the mind. Then, if we make the mind perfectly still, then in a sense we're peeling off this Manomaya kosha, the big Jnana kosha. Then this Anandamaya kosha, if we still have some sense, some feeling of joy. Now, is the mind functioning in the Anandamaya kosha? Yes, to a certain extent. Just as we saw in the dreamless sleep state, mind is still a little bit active. So here, if we have any type of spiritual experience, any vision, any feeling of ecstasy and everything, it's the mind is functioning, but through this Anandamaya kosha. See how they're not cut off from each other, these different things. Yeah. So there's blissful sheath. And then if we can go beyond that, then we enter into the turiya state, the state of samadhi, where we go beyond the mind itself. Now what happens when we have this experience is that some transformation takes place, of course, some feeling of joy, some feeling that, and now I'm free from the bondage of false identification, and I know my real nature of the self. So in different ways of looking at the Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda, he liked this idea that thinking that we're like a person reading a book. And we read a book, all of these beautiful stories take place, one page after another, one chapter after another, one lifetime after another. We keep turning the pages and the pages and the pages. When we're finished with the book, we push the book away. I've been there the whole time. I'm still there, but nothing to observe anymore. This is that state of Kaivalya. In the Sankhya system, they'll call this Kaivalya. This is state, or otherwise we'll say this merging in Brahman. So a certain type of meditation, of course, I'll talk about meditation tomorrow also. There are so many other types of devotional meditation and everything, but this is for the jnani. If the jnani wants to really enter deep into that level of being that transcends even mind, and can feel that even when the mind is functioning, I'm the witness. See, the state of liberation, Jivan Mukti, the state of Jivan Mukti, mind is functioning, ego sense is there, but this ego will be the right ego, what Sri Ramakrishna calls the right ego. This can't do anything to bind us. He gives the example of a string that's been burned. It looks like a string, but you can't tie anything up with it. Or the sword that's been touched to the philosopher's stone turns to gold. You can't use it in battle. It's too soft, it'll just be ornamental. It'll look like a sword, but it can't injure anybody. So this sense of ego comes back, he calls it the right ego. And it's established in a relationship. For the jnani, this right ego is soham. For the bhakta, this right ego is, I'm a child of God, I'm the devotee of God, I'm the servant of God, some type of relationship. So this is the pratyahara, where we withdraw into everything, and through the help of the mind, we even transcend the mind. But this is always such a difficult concept, this enlightenment experience. Does it come by going beyond the level of the mind, or does it happen through the mind itself? Sri Ramakrishna solves this dilemma by saying the pure mind. Yeah, he says it's not this ordinary mind. Because people used to say to him that one can't realize God with the mind, and he would correct them. He said, no, not with the ordinary mind, with this purified mind. He said the pure mind is one with the pure intellect. Shuddhamon, Shuddhabuddhi, is one with the pure Atman. So these are models, different ways of understanding. We merge the mind into the intellect, we merge the intellect into the Atman, into the real nature of the self. Now, what happens when this Annamaya kosha literally disappears? That means death of the physical body. When this physical body disappears, then we had this difficulty with this pranamaya kosha. Does this belong to the physical body? Does it belong to the senses? Does it belong to the mind? Now, when the physical body is gone, there's no life in this physical body. Brain function has stopped. We know from people who have this near-death experience that they can come back somehow, come back into the body somehow, and tell us what they experienced. So this pranamaya kosha, if we want to connect it with the senses, and I mentioned before, we have no Indriya Maya-kosha. I would have been happier if we had that, if they included that in one of the sheets about the senses. But Swamiji used to emphasize this point that the senses belong to the mind equally. And that somehow the common experience for people to feel that they've left the body and that they can experience things outside, so that there are many cases where doctors have left the operating room and they go into the other room and they're talking among themselves. It looks like we lost this patient or everything. When they come back, they can say, yes, I saw the two of you in that room. I saw you talking to each other. Now, how does it work? Is it through the mind, or can the senses function without this physical body somehow? Very hard to say. Very hard to answer these types of questions, but we get some sense of this separation, pranamaya kosha and annamaya kosha, this physical body. And now, what about the mind? What about the mind? Again, there are different schools of thought about these things. For some, there's this feeling that the mind remains present and active in that transition period when the subtle body either enters into another type of subtle body for some type of heavenly enjoyment, or enters into another physical body, that the mind, at least for some time, is active and can experience things and can know things. And at some point, this everything goes back into this vault, and the mind enters into some period of unknowing, and it is all speculation. There's no way to 100% prove any of these things. But one of our Swamis, I don't know where he got this theory, but he said that for 1 year, there's a year of forgetfulness. And this can explain how the newborn child, of course, won't have any memory, but even gets older, will not remember things from the previous lifetime, even though they may be in the memory bank, and there are rare cases where they do remember. There are cases like that, we know that. The active mind, at some point, will not remain active. Now, we know it's very common when people leave the body, at that very moment, they can communicate with other people. And this isn't just great souls. There's a lot of research on it. Many people will know. They say, yes, I had a visit from that person just as they died. And so I knew that they died at that time. Somebody from a different place. In the case of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramakrishna was in Chennai, Madras at that time. And he said that, I saw Swamiji. And Swamiji said, look, Shashi, I've spat out my body. And then he said, my God, what happened? And then he contacted Brother Bhatt, and he found out at that very moment Swamiji had passed away. So, even with the avatar, some sense that they remain in the subtle body. Swamiji said, it may be that I give up this body and everything, but I'll continue to work on some subtle level. So, how long one remains in that subtle level? Is it different with the avatar, different with the Ishvara Koti? These are all very difficult questions to answer. Even this idea of rebirth. In the Upanishads, we get an image of going directly from one body to another body. This is one theory at one time, like the inchworm. It won't leave one leaf until it catches on to the next leaf. And then we have all these other ideas. No, you go to different lokas, you stay there till your punya is exhausted. All different theories. It's very hard to say. But the point of all this is that this death of this physical body is not going to affect the other interior things. This is why they're concentric circles. We can't peel off the outer layer of the onion, and the others will remain intact. So even if the mind, even if the subtle body doesn't remain active, this causal body will be there. And it is a causal body because that's the innermost. This causal body will be carrying all of these samskaras, and there's a memory bank and everything. So this will have an effect on the future lifetime. So even with regard to this process of rebirth, we can understand the genius behind this Panchakosha doctrine and how the outermost will include all the ones in between. And so we can't have mind without the subconscious mind. And we can't have the body without all of the other things. Otherwise, we can have a dead body, of course. Yeah. But if we want to have the whole picture, then we have all of them together. Yeah, so what happens, this subtle body finds a new physical body. How does it happen? Again, we can't say. There's no definitive way of explaining. I like this idea in Gita. Just as the wind will come and pick up the scent of some flowers and carry it to another place. It's poetry. But how does something actually physically leave the body? Is the subtle body, is it really something material, but subtle material? We have different theories. For the realized soul, it'll go through the head or through the mouth. All different theories, but it's very, very hard to say. It's hard to say. But we can understand the death of this physical body will not mean complete destruction of everything else. That somehow, or if we like the illustration, a container filled with water, and this ego sense is this reflected sun. Reflected sun there gives it a sense of I, and we all have our own sun. We all feel we're separate individuals. This container is like the physical body, and the water is like the mind. If somehow the container gets broken, this water will seep out and somehow find another container. We don't know how exactly it works, but that will also contain all the same molecules and everything of the water from the earlier container. So this passing away of the body is a type of peeling away of this outermost layer of the onion, and then gradually the others also fall away, and what remains really is the causal body. Is that which is carrying these different samskaras and impressions and some hidden memory bank. Okay, now I want to get to this final point, and that is that so far we've been talking about my sense of I and how I come to understand the real nature of myself. And equally important, if not more important, is who is like that. Philosophically, it has some appeal, but devotionally, if we say those is the handiwork of God, is a play of the Divine Mother, then it has some real devotional appeal for us, and we can feel divinity pulsating everywhere in nature. We can feel that this is all manifestation of the Divine Mother. So yeah, this is all our mental attitude. What a miracle it is that we see that in the middle of say asphalt or concrete or something, how this tender, tiny little stem or something can pierce through all of that. Amazing. And grow there with no water or anything like that. Yeah. And now as the scientists may say, well, we can explain all of that. But we don't need all these scientific explanations all the time. We can just say, yeah, this is, why not look upon this Sri Ramakrishna says, this Aishwarya, this divine manifestation. Yeah, that we can look upon this world that way. See, when they talk about Ishvara, or Bhagavan, there are different types of divine powers. Aishwarya and Madhurya. And so this manifestation of the strength and power and everything. On the other hand, manifestation of beauty and sweetness and love and kindness and everything. We see that in nature. We see both. We see both sides. And worshippers of the Divine Mother, equally they'll see it in the earthquakes and in volcanoes and drought and everything, flood, forest fire. Equally they'll see it in that as in all the wonderful, beautiful things. What Swamiji said to Sutta Nivedita. Learn to see the Divine Mother in everything that's terrible as well as in everything that's beautiful. So the same Shakti manifesting itself. Yes?
Just want to say something as a scientist. So as a scientist, yes, you know, you can explain how a flower grows, and you can explain how how a tree grows, and you can explain what the laws are behind it. But what you cannot explain is who's making those laws.
Yeah. Even the quantum physicists, those are brilliant people with this Big Bang theory, they also can't say, how did all of this come about? Where did it come from? What is it that existed before the Big Bang? These are the mysterious questions. Yes.
Swamiji.
Yes.
So going back to that question where you talked about praying is not necessary, which is fine, but you could be just compassionate and good person and everything and have a very high standard. But to me, sometimes ego may creep up, that I'm so great, I am doing such things which you may not realize, but isn't there something like that could come?
Yeah, of course.
And so when you bow down to some higher power or whatever way, there is some Shakti or whatever you may say, there is some kind of giving yourself. Ahankara has two meanings. One is this sense of I, the other is pride. And this ahankara, this pride, it can come from anything. It can be those who are very highly spiritual, the little pride comes. There's something called the ego of humility. We see this. There's been many people, I'm the least, I'm the most humble, I'm the last one to do anything, I know nothing, this and that. And really, out of ego, they're saying it, they're building up that way. So this ego can creep in anywhere. Best remedy that I know of is we have these examples of these great souls that if ever we want to compare ourselves, forget about Thakur and Ma, even Swamiji, but any of the others, direct disciples or any of the great monks of our order that we've known, we'll see how small we are, how nothing we are. So it's always good to just do a little check on ourselves. That we start to think of what we've done, how wonderful we are, and then we look at what some other people have done and how they've done it so gracefully and with such humility and love and devotion and everything. So there's plenty of opportunity for us to put ourselves back in our place if this feeling of ego starts to come.
Swamiji, I just want to share something about this prayer, whether there is a need for prayer. Once I heard a Christian speaker, and a few words stuck in my mind. This was many years ago. He said, true prayer is not asking for this or that. But true prayer is not an expression of fear or either or anxiety, but he said true prayer is like visiting a beloved relative, being happy in the company of that beloved.
Yeah. The type
So
of
he said
communion.
true prayer is that that sense of oneness with the
And sense of
divine.
intimacy. Sense of intimacy. We have a tradition in our order that for Sri Ramakrishna, we won't ask for anything, only pure love and devotion. Anything else we ask Holy Mother. Yeah, it's true. And we're even told that. We're even told that. Yeah, any little thing. This is Dr. Sharkar, I mentioned him last night, that every once in a while he would say something that Thakur would like very much. And he said one time to Sri Ramakrishna, we lie on the lap of Mother. Why can't we ask anything of her? And Thakur went into ecstasy. Yeah. So if we have that attitude, then it increases the sense of intimacy and closeness. And this is one type of spiritual practice for those who practice Shanta Bhava, when Thakur was Santan Bhava,
that to look upon God as mother, the small child can ask anything of the mother without hesitation, and can pester the mother day and night, and said finally the mother will give in and give what the child wants. Yeah. So it's all different attitudes. It depends. We can't force these things. If it's not appropriate for our spiritual mood, then it won't be helpful. Yeah. We can't try to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and worship the way they do. It has to be consistent with our nature and with our spirituality.
But Swami, isn't it like it's like there is an oxygen for us to breathe, whether we recognize it or not, it supports us. But breathing in with that recognition brings joy and meaning and value, reverence.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there'll be many people who will say that whether you believe that God hears our prayers or not doesn't matter. I know God hears our prayers. Yeah, that's the type of attitude, the heroic type of attitude. Yes, this is my belief. I'm going to stick to it and everything. Yeah. So, but we don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. Is there any really objective answer to these questions? With so many types of answers, one danger that I feel when I hear people say that, oh, Mother saved me, that I was going to have an accident and Sri Ramakrishna saved me. And then they say, what happens when you have an accident? It's not always that you're going to be saved. Then what will you say? And we know that many people really do lose faith. They really do. They think, oh, whole life I've been calling on God, and how could this happen to me? Yeah. So we have to be very careful and cautious. What is the type of faith? We only have faith when we get the things that we want. Yeah. Yes.
I think sometimes, we have to be kind of grateful for unanswered prayers too. So many, what do we know about life? And we don't know what's going to happen next minute.
Yeah.
And then even if we look in our own life, in my own life too, sometimes I have been wanting something, and then later on it was not given. Later on I found out, yes, it happened for something good. I'm glad now that prayer was not answered. So we should not worry about, oh, my prayer is not answered. Maybe, it's not meant to be, and later on something better might come too. So that kind of faith we must have. God did not listen to me. Don't think it that way, because you don't know what's happening tomorrow. So sometimes looking back, you have to be grateful for some of the prayers that was not answered.
Sometimes the mother says no to the child.
Yes.
Yeah, for the child's good. Yeah. No, this is true. This is the kitten attitude. Sri Ramakrishna says that the baby kitten has so much faith in the mother that wherever the mother puts it, it's happy. If the kitten wants to be on the master's bed, but the mother puts it in the fireplace instead, in the ashes, then the kitten says, this really must be, mother knew better, must be what's the best for me. I'll be happy there. So yeah, this is a beautiful spiritual attitude. Is it objectively true? Is it provable? No. But is it a beautiful attitude that can change our whole lifetime? Yes. Yes. So, and can we believe that maybe it's true? Yeah, we can also believe that. Of course.
So,
Yeah.
the prayer is you are praying to your own soul.
This idea that we're praying to the higher self. The higher self is one with Ishvara. It's not simply that I'm praying to the mind. Because Swamiji talks like that sometimes. And you'll be in a certain mood. You say, who you're praying to your higher self. But this higher self, this Paramatman, is one with Ishvara. It's one with, it's not restricted and limited to just that witness within me, that this is the Son of Knowledge. So yes, it's both are true. We're praying to God, but God dwelling within. Who is it that hears our prayers? God hears our prayers from the inside, and not from someplace, with some wireless connection. Present, directly present within the heart. So this is that little dividing line of the ego makes us feel that there's a difference between the Sakshan and the Antaryamin. If we say the witness, no, I'm really the witness. I am that witness. No. But if we feel, no, I'm the devotee, that this is God dwelling within, Ishwara, then I can pray to that God. And God will hear the prayer. So is it, when we say it's my own self, do we really mean it's only myself? No, with a capital S. So it means that divine presence within, which is also my real self. Yeah. But as long as the sense of ego is there, then this sense of separation and relationship is there.
I have one question.
Yes.
Would you talk about karma for? I know we hear about karma for all the time.
Yes.
And like, okay, somebody is suffering. See, yes, you were born like an ordinary, right? And also like in your past life, maybe you have done something.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you were suffering in this life. But whoever, we have not seen our past life, what we have done. So why this death? Like
No one has to accept these things as perfectly unquestionable truths.
Yeah, I have
These are the hypotheses. Swamiji says that this is the best understanding that we have at present. This is a working hypothesis, this idea. Now karma has two sides to it. One is what you say, if I do something in this lifetime, that I'll have to suffer for some equivalent thing in the next lifetime. Prarabdha karma. Yeah. Now, Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother both, they accept it on a limited basis. They actually go against the very orthodox followers of karma theory. Very orthodox theory is that prarabdha karma can't be changed. That we have to just put up with it. It determines length of life, determines all sorts of things. But he says that through our love and devotion, it can be lessened. So they give the example, if I'm destined to be run in with a sword, and I become a highly spiritual person and everything, I may get a pinprick instead. It will be lessened that way. Anyhow, this type of karma is a type of theory, we can say. The type of karma that's a psychological doctrine, that whatever experiences we have will leave a mark on us. Whatever experiences that we have will determine our samskaras, our personality, our nature to be. This, I think, is indisputable. There's simple cause and effect. The other, it's also cause and effect, but what is the connecting link? It's very hard to say. Of course, very commonly understood and taken for granted that it's not simply what some scholars will be born with, but what will be the circumstances of our birth. See, that type of parada of the karma can't be changed. I can't go back and decide to be born to different parents. We're born in certain circumstances because of the past that we have to understand, or take it in the sense that will be beneficial for us. But do we want to put a lot of emphasis on it? We don't have to. I mentioned last night, some people are happier to say everything is the will of Mother, Divine Mother. Everything is the will of God. I wouldn't look at it that way. Other people will say, I don't know anything about this, but I'll accept everything, that I deserve it. Whatever comes to me, that it must be something that I did before, and I'm willing to accept it and live with it. I won't blame anybody else. These are what I was trying to emphasize, is spiritual attitudes. Which one is true, which one is better, these we can't really say. Sri Ramakrishna, as many times as he said, everything is the will of Mother. One time, when somebody was saying, somebody who was not a highly spiritual soul or anything, somebody was saying, yes, but whatever we do is the will of Mother. And Sri Ramakrishna got angry at him. He said, you go around, you know how dogs will go to other dogs and smell the backside of them? You go around living in the world like this and you say that it's the will of Divine Mother? He got very annoyed. And then he said that if you eat chilies, won't your tongue burn? Now, it looks like a non sequitur. Why is he saying that? He's saying that because this is how the will of Mother works, through the law of karma. The one way of understanding it. That doesn't mean that it's just fanciful, not based on anything. that it'll be based on what we do also. Yeah. And really only those who have no sense of I, no sense of ego, who are fully renounced and surrendered to Divine Mother can feel that whatever I do is the will of Mother. Jaman bolao temni boli. Jaman korao temni boli. I speak as you make me speak. I act as you make me act. I can't say that. I'll never say that. I say also, I get angry at somebody and say something, oh, Mother made me do it. It's hypocrisy. So we have to be very careful. This one hymn, one song that everybody sings, Sokalita Mariyacha. Other than Sri Ramakrishna, the Holy Mother, and a few others, nobody is qualified to say that. Yeah. But it's a goal. We want to reach that point where we don't do anything with any selfish motive. That's the closest we can come to feel that we're acting according to the divine will. Eliminate any selfish motive and act out of love and compassion. That's the best we can do.
I feel there's a lot of spiritual experience when you go through. I mean, I'm not generalizing this to anybody. For me, myself, I have gone through several episodes of pain and suffering. So I sort of like now going back and looking at it, like I'm able to see how there's a lot of spiritual experience that comes out of when you come out of it, and it gives you that opportunity to sort of stand back and see what you spoke about, all these koshas, and you'll be able to stand back and see what the suffering is and what it is not. So
yes, Swamiji emphasizes this very. He said we learn far more through suffering than we do through happiness. And there's a very beautiful poem that he wrote called "Angels Unawares." Yeah, you'll find it in the computer. You can just Google it. Very beautiful, where he talks about someone who has a fall and has suffers, and he says, "Blessed suffering, blessed misery, blessed superstition." Very beautiful poem that I came to realize that through this great fall, I realized my oneness with all beings and everything. Yeah, of course. If we can look at things that way, then it'll be very beneficial for us.
In Mahabharata, Kunti asked that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Kunti Ma, yeah. She didn't mind undergoing any type of suffering if it helped her remember Krishna. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shantihi 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 Harihi Om. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from the finite to the infinite. Peace be unto us and unto all beings.